You're muted.
Yeah. He's muted, no?
Sorry. Yes, I was muted. I was interacting. I was asking Vinal to say something, but I saw her. Yeah, sorry. So
I would like to share.
Yes.
One
yes,
of the psychological hedonism that comes about by believing something is that concretization of one's own belief, that it gets reaffirmed with the sensation. And that in itself is a stimulating factor.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
I could not understand.
Yeah, can you repeat?
Can you explain it? Explain it, not repeat. Explain literally.
So if I have fear, then what's the pleasure that I'm getting out of it would be one question that may come about. What's the stimulated pleasure that one is getting? Why would one have fearful thoughts? And one of the pleasure element that one may be deriving from it would be that by believing in it, that fearful thing, that event, that it will happen, it's bringing some sensation in me, and that sensation being a form, it's a matter. It gets, that initial belief gets reaffirmed that yes, this is true. So there is some pleasure in it, that what I had initially believed, it's getting attested with my own sensation. So that concretization of that sensation is that pleasure element that one may be deriving, even though it's something like a depressive thought or a fearful thought or any of these.
Yes, in the form of justification, I am trying to attain some psychological hedonistic satisfaction. You know, in the form of justification. That's what Vinal tried to propose. So actually, I was saying the last point, inquisition. Yes, Shilpi.
Would what Vinal is saying, would this also be an example of that? That suppose somebody has, taken that if I follow the healthy, natural lifestyle, I'll be able to heal, XYZ things, and then with that, obsession about it, one does it, and one is able to heal that XYZ thing.
Yes.
That gives a like a heady feeling about it, and one reaffirms that in their head, that see, that is how it happens, and so it works.
Yes. So it's a same motivational speaker syndrome. Yes. Yesterday we discussed that walking on the fire is considered to be a success. So the idea is proposed that it is a success. Then I achieve through my action, whatever the suppression that I may do and whatever the stimulated action that I do. Then after achieving it, I claim and approve it. This is a pattern of psychological
But some
hedonism.
particular person, people only will be able to follow
able to achieve it. Able to achieve
believe it and believe it first. Such a thing can happen, like walking.
Believing is quite common, believing it quite common. Then
believing it to the extent to achieve it himself.
Yes. But few believers will be there. Few believers will be there which will not have that much conviction, and that will start uttering excuses. This visualization वगैरह होता तो कुछ है नहीं यार, ऐसे ही time बर्बाद होता है, and kind of things they utter. Only a few people will start claiming that it worked. So it's a same belief brings a conviction.
So where is the conflict in this? When they achieve it?
When they achieve it?
Yes.
It's a bigger conflict because they start considering that as an achievement, which is not. what they have considered as an achievement. That's the first layer of imagination, and the second layer of imagination that they have achieved.
So basically, both the conclusions are
imaginations. So 2 layers of imaginations one suffers from, considering that as a truth.
If they don't realize it, is it a conflict still?
If they don't realize, is it a conflict still?
If they do it as a profession, like we are doing some profession, they are also following that profession. I mean,
no, what is the sensation of the individual? Because this needs to be answered by the individual at the sensational level. What is the sensation they are sensing inside?
He must be feeling nice about it. That's why they're able to do. They're not getting any physical suffering also.
That needs to be answered by them. That needs to be answered by them. Mathematically, it is a depletion of energy. Now, if they are claiming that they are okay with it, so
then like a profession. Like we are also doing some profession, isn't it?
No, so that's
a bigger question. I wanted to avoid that.
If we are concluding in that, if you are fixated that because of this, I am able to achieve it. I'm wondering, because of this, and if I did not do this, then I would not get success. Or the success itself is is a questionable thing. Or say in the example of, somebody getting in the somebody getting healed by following a natural regime or something, how does one feel? Suppose they find somebody else who did the same thing and did not do well. How do they feel about it then? When they come across that thing not working, or say in this case of fire walking also, they realize that sometime it did not work for them. Then what do they feel inside, I think, is the...
Yes, what is the internal sensation in all these experiences? Achieving it or not achieving it, or consideration of the achievement, all the things needs to be inquired. Then only one can actually say that whether they are experiencing the conflict or not. What we are here trying to understand as a general framework, the roots of depletion. If that individual falls under this, because see, what we are saying from external side, as Dr. Kaur was proposing, that as a profession. So what we are seeing is the action, But action is just the tip of the iceberg. What is the exact sensation? One may talks a lot about inquiry and maybe a believer inside. Other person may talk a lot about belief, but maybe inquirer inside. We do not know. We cannot summarily conclude about somebody else's sensation, because I cannot sense your sensation. You cannot sense my sensation. I cannot perceive your perception. You cannot perceive my perception. So this needs to be actually vetted by individual. We are trying to explore the natural movement of the information, how it processed, and if it is reversed, then how it happens. Right. So, so let's go through 8-factor observation. This will lead us to understand the conservation of energy at the deeper level and how that gets depleted. So we picked up 8 factors of life. So the first 4 factors are radiation, air, water, and solid food. Radiation, air, water, and solid food. These are the primary needs of an organism as input matters: radiation, air, water, and solid food. So let's start with the radiation and air. Now, in this first column, this column is actually proposing the natural responses that one organism is crafted or structured to respond naturally to these factors. How? So for radiation and air, use of open space and shades as indicated through the body is a natural response. Shanta, are you there? Are you able to follow?
Yeah, I'm able to follow.
Thank you. So radiation and air naturally, without any influence, an organism, how respond naturally? It uses the open space and the shade as indicated by the body, as indicated through the body. As we were discussing about that cat who was actually lying down in the garden where the sun was there initially, when the sun was soothing, then it responded and chose exactly a place where the head was in the shade and the body was in the sun. And then progressively, when the sun is brighter, then it chooses a shade to lie down. So this was so meticulously done by the organism, responding to the body's response. No idea, no influence there.
So
now
it is done at the subconscious level, not at the conscious level.
Yes, it's a natural response, whatever we choose to call it.
So it's this
a
inquiry, what you have mentioned, conservation through inquiry. This is at a subconscious, I mean, innate level.
I'm not sure. It's a combination of conscious and subconscious. It's not only a subconscious, because the movement, when I take up, when that cat moves from the sunlight to the shade, it's a conscious action. How can we call it as a subconscious? But there is an element of subconscious response.
Inquiry is
so inquiry actually is a wholesome activity, you know. The contribution of the conscious and subconscious both are there, but definitely the elements of subconscious means the beyond conscious element contributes to the inquiry for sure. Lot of revelations happen when actually there is a merging of conscious and beyond conscious in the process of inquiry.
So the in this case, the subconscious is almost like that just at the bodily level, the responses being given is being considered as subconscious.
And at the conscious layer, I'm just responding. At the conscious layer,
thinking, any
without
thinking,
any thought.
Thinking is happening. That makes me wonder about one more thing. I have wondered about this for a while, and maybe we have discussed earlier also about a lot of people say with an old, old age also, who've lived long and have lived maybe a lot of times not so natural lifestyle also, like a mix of lifestyle, not always very natural, not always unnatural, but they have probably never consciously inquired. And I have always wondered that how does this happen? So if they have less of conditionings in their life, probably
naturally they had been inquiring.
Yes, and at a subconscious level they are responding to the bodily, bodily
indications. Yes.
And so there is no active inquiry happening there, but in all likelihood, because they are just more connected with their bodily requirements coming from the body and not from the mind, I'm saying.
What do you mean by active inquiry?
In which they are, I know, it almost sounds like inquiry is something unnatural, and that's why it's active inquiry. But they are not exploring so much on,
How can you say that?
I cannot say, but I'm just exploring that could
we do not know. We do not know. It's just some exercise of imagination. How can you so? How can you conclude? I'm just asking.
I'm not concluding. I'm just saying it could be that. It could be that because I'm just saying, because a lot of times in a daily scenario, a lot of times this exploration comes with sensation only.
Exploration comes. No, in exploration, there is no involvement of sensation. If it is an inquiring exploration, there is no involvement of sensation. It's a perceptory movement.
Yes, but as the fact that, we are conditioned to think of things as black or white. Mm-hmm. So it is, this is good.
Those are the conclusions that we make.
Right.
Yes.
So the moment I start thinking about something, not inquiring to that extent, one gets into this zone of black or white.
Yeah, that's a stoppage of inquiry.
Yes.
The moment we get into the black or white conclusion, that's a stoppage of inquiry.
Yes. So what I'm saying is that that inquiry, which is why I'm saying active inquiry I'm just saying may not be happening, but subconsciously they are aligned with their body.
Yeah, they had been responding because of the lack of conditioning. They had been responding to the body perhaps, but that cannot lead us to any conclusion about their inquiring state, whether they had been inquiring or not. Because as some other day we were discussing about somebody is having 18 children. Do you remember 18 children, and they were not conditioned, and so much of pornography and execration of sex was not there. Even then they had 18 children. How that could be? Those kind of questions were there. So it's not dependent. So one's fantasy is not dependent on the pornography availability. So that needs to be. We'll explore about the sex also in the next slide.
In this you mentioned that the perceptory thing. So that if the perception during the perception in the inquiry, if during the perception thoughts come, so do they interfere with the process of inquiry?
No, when thought comes, how am I looking at it? When thought comes, how am I looking at it? That's a perennial question.
How am I to look? Okay. How am I to look at thoughts, feelings?
Yes. So in the process of inquiry, what one looks at is the effect on the sensation from anywhere. Any turbulence, any change in the sensation is to be inquired.
No, I am having a thought.
Yes,
it's in the thoughts level. I'm having thoughts.
So can we use the perception? You have a perception.
No,
you have a
perception will be perception. In the perception, it's only an awareness. There are no thoughts in that.
So thought means a conclusion. Are you saying a conclusion? Are you talking about a conclusion? If it is a
thoughts
conclusion,
are coming,
yes, then it is affecting the sensation. A thought, which is a concluded form, it is definitely involving my sensation. It is the same.
Am I to observe the thoughts also when I'm inquiring?
Yes. So when I'm observing the combination of the perception and the sensation here, which we are calling a thought. A thought is necessarily a combination of perception and sensation. When I observe it, then the things
thought
reveal.
Includes the emotion also?
Yes. Okay. Yes. Thought is nothing but a concluded emotion only. This is a combination. It's a concluded sensation. You understand? This emotion, necessarily we consider the sensation as emotion, but the contributing factor is the thought to trigger the emotion. Right. So on the first factor, and the first two factors, when we bring the idea here, suppose. So first is this confined room, consistent use of the confined room is an ideated modification. And this is definitely an innervating factor. Stay in an open space, well-ventilated space versus a confined space will have an impact on the energy. Now, on the hindsight, if we enforce ourselves to stay open without responding the body's sensation, I enforce myself to stay in the sun in the midday, despite having irritation. That's a kind of enforcement, maybe comes out of obsession. When we look at the natural factors obsessively, then we become obsessed about staying in open. So both has got an impact at the individual organism from the idea side. Now, if we talk about the next factor, water actually is a substance that we consume in response to the thirst that we experience at the throat level, as Silpi is sipping the water. So, and it is a substance without any taste. It's a tasteless substance. So that's a natural process. We experience thirst and we sip water, which is tasteless. Now, drinking without thirst, and how one can drink without thirst? Most of the cases, we enhance the taste of water, making sharbat, enforcing, or being obsessed about a particular quantity of water being proposed by someone. That X liter of water one must consume. And without thirst, I consume that quantity of water. So both actually are driven by the ideas and innervate the individual. Similar goes for the solid food. As water, the indicator is the hunger. And the hunger is satiated naturally by the unmodified tasty food, unmodified taste of the food, of the substance. So if we are eating without hunger, we have to modify the taste to make it consumable, to lure us to eat. And on the hindsight, if we become obsessed about a particular food, that I have to have this particular superfood, without that my health will be compromised. This is an ideated acceptance, ideated sensation, which keeps on looping. This particular violet row is about the P3, P2 looping. And this red column, sorry, not row, column. The red column is about P1, P2, P3, the natural sequence. Now, the next three factors are about the activities primarily. Joints and spine. The joints and spine has got innate movement in it, movement and balance, combination of movement and balance. If we compromise with that, under the influence of any idea, then those are the innervating state of being. So how that happens? Sedentary lifestyle. We may give many reasons, professional reason or whatsoever. But if we opt a sedentary lifestyle, then that brings innervation. Or on the hindsight, if we opt an obsessive exercise regime, I must do this kind of exercise to retain and regain my health. That's an ideated proposal, because health is a holistic aspect. It cannot be one single factor, cannot be singled out and stressed upon. Same goes for the sleeping. Sleeping naturally happens by resting in natural darkness. Resting in natural darkness. But for human being, primarily, this is somewhat compromised because of the artificial use of lights, you know. There's no difference between night and day at times. So much of light that we use. Now, obsessed use or enforced abstinence of artificial light in darkness, both actually brings innervation from the P3, P2. Yes, Shilpi.
Here, like a lot of times, people also start worrying themselves when they're not able to sleep. Would that also come as innovation through ideas?
Yes, yes, yes. How do I look at this state of being not able to sleep?
Yes.
You know, can I look at it without obsession, without sensation? Can I look at this phenomena without sensation? That's always, for any event, that's a perennial question. That can I look at this event without any sensation, genuinely without any sensation?
If the person is suffering the symptoms because of lack of sleep, he's complaining that I'm unable to sleep and feeling the tiredness, exhaustion, and they want the sleep so badly that they are even ready to eat some tablets to get some sleep. Yeah. So
yes, that
is it a sensation?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an obsession. It's absolutely an obsession and a symptomatic patchwork to get a tranquilizer and sleep.
No, the sensation, what they're feeling because of lack of sleep.
Yes.
So what you are suggesting is one should observe it?
Yes. Can they observe? I don't know what one should do, but it's a question to that individual. Can you observe it without obsession? Can you observe this particular phenomena, this particular phenomena that I'm not getting sleep? And I am observing it.
The sensation is coming along with it.
That's what. Can I observe it? And that's the pattern that yesterday also we discussed, that an event and sensation, these two things are happening. One event and one sensation. Now, combining these two, it becomes an event. Combining these two, it becomes an event. It's a mental process. Inquiry is a mental process, all in all. So an event, I repeat, an event and corresponding sensation I am experiencing. And this whole sum, combining these two, becomes an event. When I look at this fact that I am not getting sleep and I am worried about it. So not getting sleep is an event and getting worried is a sensation. And this whole phenomena that is happening to me is an event now. And I am looking at it. And while looking at it, what is my sense? Now, am I seeing some sensation within me in terms of guilt? Why did I worry? Or I'm justifying that I must worry. When one is not getting sleep, what should he do? He should get worried. That's again another sensation that I'm getting. In both the ways. Can I look at it? Can I look at it without sensation? That's a perennial question. If I'm getting the sensation at the second layer also, that becomes a wholesome event again. And this chain will continue for an inquirer if the individual is interested in inquiry. Will keep on inquiring further. At some point, maybe at the seventh layer, one will get a state that there is no sensation. Now I am able to look at it wholesome. Now I'm looking at
the
it.
Sleep will not be there, but the sleep will still not be there at that 7th level, but the sensation will not be there.
Yes, I'm able to look at it without sensation at that time. Action-wise, there is no sleep still. Let it be. But the moment I am able to look at it without sensation, a lot of energy is empowered. I'm empowered with a lot of energy. And
so that loop is broken from
yes.
P3 to P2.
Yes.
That loop is broken.
Yes, yes. At any layer it breaks all the layers instantly.
And this can happen despite me, as Dr. Kaur said, despite one having the symptoms of, of less sleep.
Yes,
to
yes.
say whatever is happening physically in terms of not being able to sleep is being experienced, tiredness, whatever, nausea, feeling lost in the day, various pains and aches, all those things. And that is, being understood as it is part and parcel of not being able to sleep. Because what happens is that these physical symptoms are there, and then there's this hype about the sleep, 7-8 hours is needed. So both together create this big
fuss about
thing in their head.
Yes.
Big fuss about it. And they see, like, a lot of people I hear saying, oh, what could I do? I have to take a pill to sleep.
Yes.
Because so many days this has been going on, I'm not
Yes.
able to sleep.
Yes.
So both the things, so one is at a physical level, it is happening, the symptoms
which is a very minuscule thing, which is very easily solvable, which gets exaggerated because of the ideation. Because of the ideation.
Solvable by resting and...
it will be solved by the body itself. We need not to worry about it. Body is structured to sleep. Body is structured. Body is eager to sleep. I am just blocking it by caging my energy in some or other ways. So like the reversal of the health problems, so-called disease, body is structured to reverse the disease, get back to the homeostasis. I need not to worry and I need not to bring any intention to make it happen. It is already eager. So it's as if like something is already structured to have happened. Why to break our head to make it happen? Can we understand this simple logic? So
it is almost making it almost making it sound like what we were discussing some time ago on health only. We were talking about that one is earlier it was a habit, and now in the habit only. Earlier it was an obsession with the habit. Now we want to break the habit,
and that becomes an obsession. That becomes an obsession. Yes. So I think we have less than 1 minute left. So we are left with a single topic: sex. Sex is actually emergence out of consistent physical proximity. I think we have discussed a lot many times. For Shanta, maybe it is a new topic, new proposal. So we can continue in the WhatsApp further on that. When we start considering sex as a planned act, that becomes an innervation. That becomes an innervation. And that happens also in terms of enforced celibacy also, when we deny sex. So what should we do? Should we initiate another 5-10 minutes and conclude? Or yeah, so let's without silence, let's initiate another 5-10 minutes, then we'll conclude.
Okay.
Yeah.